Hi, my name is Marietta Mehanni, and this week we're using the noodle and doing something with it I've never done in a class before with someone else, or have I ever done before. So this is new, really new, and it's so good. Now what I'm going to do is place my hands close together on the noodle, and my fingers do not grip the noodle. So this is great for those clients that go, I don't like holding on to the noodle. So there's no gripping involved, and that's key. And what you're going to do is basically press the noodle down and then move it from side to side, just from side to side. Now this is a really interesting exercise because I actually feel my core muscles, my abdominals, my obliques really fire just to get the noodle to go across. It's really cool. And in fact, what's the other cool thing about it is because you're pushing down against the noodle, you actually get a little bit of lat activation. The shoulders get a break, and this is also a great postural exercise. You know how we're always trying to get our clients to push their shoulders down? Do this as a break in between. Now, if you have your hands wider apart, it's a little bit more challenging, but the goal is to try to sweep the noodle across the front of the pelvis from one side to the other. Take your hands a little bit wider apart, and it changes the stimulus just slightly. So you can play around with the distance between the hands. The hands, when they're closer together, it's a lot easier to do. The hands further apart, it becomes more challenging. But remember, the goal is not to hold on to the noodle and to push it down and move as far from side to side as you possibly can. It's such a simple movement pattern, but I seriously have never done this before, and I use it now more frequently because it's a great exercise. There's a bit of strength required to push that noodle down, but it also helps with bringing the shoulders down and giving the fingers a break. And that is this week's Aqua Tip. I wish I could show you a way to hold the noodle and have your fingers spread apart. It feels like for this demonstration you need some sort of Velcro or sticky thing that you can place against your hand against the noodle. But the reality is, look, there's no other way to do it than to just grip the noodle and explain to your participants that you want the fingers spread wide apart so they're not gripping on. So to demonstrate this particular movement pattern, this is what I would recommend. You know, have the feet on the bottom of the pool. It's a super easy one to demonstrate with the challenge of trying to communicate finger release. So I'd say everyone open your palms and place both your palms. I'd rest the noodle against my thighs and hold the noodle this way so the noodle is against your thighs. So say rest your palms, no gripping on the noodle, and what you're going to do is you're going to be moving the noodle from side to side. Notice I've gripped the noodle with one hand, with the other hand still spread open. Now, a little reminder, the closer the hands are, the easier it is. And as you take your hands out a little bit wider, it becomes more challenging. The real emphasis with this one is to tell people to bring their shoulders down so you can use this visual cue, push the shoulders down, drive the arms straight down. So see how I pushed my arms down, and tell them to push the noodle across with their arms pressed down. And I would drop the noodle there momentarily to explain how you want the arms to keep pressing down so the noodle goes across the front of the thighs. Just notice that as I've cued the noodle going across the front of the thighs, I'm also drawing that line with my hand across my legs. So it just becomes a little bit clearer for them to understand. Then use your hands again to explain how you're going to feel this in your lats in the back and also in your obliques at the front. and keep the arms as straight as possible as you move the noodle across your body. So your hands actually play a really important role here with cueing about where they should be feeling it, because you don't really have to do anything else. But as an instructor, if you can use your hands to point where people are going to feel the exercise, technical aspects, this really brings their attention to what they're doing, especially if they're a little bit hard of hearing, or your music and your microphone, or you've got ambient noise that's challenging your ability to communicate verbally. The non-verbal cues are going to be really important. So make sure that you work on your non-verbal cues. It's not just all coming out of your mouth. So you just need to spread fingers apart, demonstrate how to hold the noodle, demonstrate how the noodle is going to go across. Start with hands close together to make it easy, spread them further apart to make them harder, and use these magic things on the end of your arms to point out where they should be feeling it. And that is this week's Aqua Tip.